So like always, appreciate you guys coming out to cover Penn State football. Awesome being Thon game. I think everybody that obviously is listening to this knows how important Thon is to our university and really the culture of the entire community here. So love the fact that we're able to be a part of that. We had 3.0 recognition at halftime. Obviously, our guys are not able to be a part of that, but we would have had 59 football players recognized today as part of that, so pretty cool there. Overall, pleased with the dub. We were able to get a win. I think we made it harder than it needed to be in a lot of areas. We're playing a bunch of young guys, and it felt like that at times. So got to get those things cleaned up. Some interesting facts. We've shut out an opponent for the 5th straight season. The last time Penn State shut out an opponent in 5 straight seasons was 1972 to 1976, and that hasn't happened in a long time, and we've done it with a number of different coordinators. Nick Singleton and Katron Allen both eclipsed 3,000-yard rushing mark today. They're 8th and 9th all-time in program history. Both over 3,000 yards. Dom DeLuca with his 3rd career blocked punt. So ton of cool stuff. When you talk about the important stats, takeaway battle, that was big. It seems like our defensive line and specifically our defensive tackles are doing some phenomenal things with 2 interceptions. And Chaz almost had a strip sack fumble return for a touchdown. Explosive play battle, we won it, but still not as explosive as we need to be on offense. 3rd down battle was not good. We lost that. We were not good on 3rd down. That was the reason offensively we struggled and could not get into a rhythm. Sack battle was a tie. Field position, we won. I thought it was great for you guys to get a chance to see what we've seen all camp with Gabe. Him swinging field position on the punts. Obviously, the 2 kicks out of bounds we can't have, or we would have dominated field position. And then penalty battle, we won that as well. Middle 8, we won that. So some good things, but not where we need to be. But also winning consistently is hard to do, and we have found a way to do that. So appreciate you guys all being here, and I'm happy to answer questions.
James, how would you assess Drew's play in that game?
Yeah, I didn't think he was in his normal rhythm. We had some drops. He had some throws that he normally makes that he didn't. Obviously, that was a major factor for us on 3rd down as well. But just we couldn't seem to get into the rhythm on offense, and that was part of that.
We'll go Rich, and then we'll go Tyler.
James, to your left.
Hey, Rich.
Hi. Your inability to finish drives in the first half, obviously it was a problem last week. Where is it on the worry scale for you right now after 2 games?
It's obviously something that you're concerned about because the 2nd week in a row you brought it up. But, I want to finish drives and score touchdowns too, and so does Andy Kotelnicki, and so does all of our players. We got to get better. We got to get better this week. We got to be better on 3rd down. We got to be more explosive. We have not met our explosive play mark the last 2 weeks, and we weren't good enough on 3rd down today. And those things are going to stall out drives. I have the same concerns that you do, but that's what they are. They're concerns, and they're things that we're going to emphasize and focus this week, and we'll get better. That's what we have done. Really in my time here is we focus on getting better every single week, and usually it leads us in a good direction. We got to speed up that process a little bit. I do think things are magnified because we rotate more early in the season than we will late in the season. So we're playing a ton of guys. We're playing a lot of reps for those guys, and there's some mistakes that are coming with it. So we get into some crunch time, there'll be less of that rotation unless they've earned it.
Hey, James, in terms of explosive plays, we saw some of that from Devontae Ross. Punt return for 17, I think, the 42-yard touchdown catch. You've told us that August was, maybe the summer was a little slow going for him with some of the injury stuff. Where is he now in terms of how it can help this team based on what you've seen thus far, and what did it mean to see that in action for him in live football?
Yeah, we when we started kind of dealing with some of his bumps and bruises, we didn't think we would have him. It was being projected that we wouldn't have him until Game 4. So the fact that he is played in Week 1 in a limited capacity and was really no limitations in Week 2 and was able to obviously be a impact in the game is a positive. So I think we're way ahead of where we hope to be. And we just got to continue to build on it. But the good thing is you guys have now had an opportunity to see Hudson, you've seen Pena, you've seen Ross, and now we got to be able to get all three of them involved on a consistent basis.
Pickle, then Bob.
Coach, what did you think the identity was going to be for your offense and defense coming out of camp, and have you seen that in action on both sides of the ball over the first 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think we're still working towards that. I don't know if you necessarily know at the end of training camp ever what your identity is going to be. You have an idea of what you think, but until you get into the games and start to do it, it's an evolution. So yeah, I don't know if we're there yet. I still think we're trying to figure that out. But I would also say this: we've gone into these first couple weeks with a philosophy of things we were trying to get done in terms of building chemistry and confidence in certain aspects of the game, rather than just go do what we got to do to win games and score points. So I think that those things could factor in to a degree, and that really kind of revolves around those three receivers. But yeah, we need to be more balanced. We need to be more explosive on offense. Defensively, we're not playing fast yet. They're still thinking a lot with some of the new wrinkles in the new defense. We got to get some of those things cleaned up so they can play faster and more natural. I think special teams, we've shown that we have a chance to win games on special teams. In these first couple weeks, I think that's a positive. The blocked field goals, frustrating. We've had 2 blocked field goals in 2 years where a guy does completely opposite of what we coach. Field goal responsibility, and then all of a sudden I'm going to take 2 hands down on my inside gap and give out my outside gap, which is not what we coach and what we do. In the last 2 years, we've had a guy do that on their own without ever doing it in practice, without ever being coached to do that. So we got to get some things cleaned up. The 2 kicks out of bounds, those things are disappointing, but we've made some big-time plays on special teams, and we need to continue doing that.
Bob, then Neil.
James, it was in August, both you and Jim Knowles had talked about Chaz as a true freshman who had flashed and really done some good things. For a first-year player that didn't even enroll early, just the last couple of weeks, James, what have you kind of seen from Chaz?
Hey, Rashad, could you guys go around the corner? Yeah, excuse me. Chaz has been, you guys are starting to see what we saw in camp, and I think your point is a good one. He wasn't even here for spring ball, so I think you're going to just see him continue to take significant strides. But he is quick, he's twitchy, he's athletic, he's 250 pounds and looks skinny. I think he's 248 or 249, somewhere in that range. And then obviously just his ball aware today, to be able to get the strip sack and then be able to scoop it up and then run away. Some cool things. So I think you're just going to see him continue to get better. And then obviously being able to have Zariah out there today, I think was helpful too. Veteran player that we hadn't had early in the season and not for most of camp. So to have him back was good too. I thought he looked really explosive and quick off of the ball. I thought his get off was excellent.
Last 2 questions, Neil, then Audrey.
James, you mentioned you mentioned the depth. Can you comment on the intensity today? Were you satisfied with that? You did have a noon start. Was that did that satisfy you? Can you comment overall on the intangibles of how the team played with today?
Yeah, obviously we started out sluggish. We did not execute the way we needed to early on. for a number of reasons. Obviously, third down was a factor in that. We missed some throws. We dropped some passes. We allowed them on defense to stay on schedule too often. So, yeah, combination of all those things. But, no, yeah, I would have liked to see us start stronger and faster. I do think that's a better football team. I think they're gonna have a good year in that conference. Standing out there on the field, they got some good-looking players, and I thought they were coached well, and I thought they were efficient with what they did today. So, got to give them a ton of credit. But, yeah, no, I was not happy with how we started. Starting fast on offense, defense, and special teams. We did not do that today.
Last question, Audrey.
Hey, James, over here.
Hey, Audrey.
Where are you kind of at with your offensive line now through 2 games? Do you feel like you're making strides there? What do you kind of want to see more of from some of those guys? Because there has been some of that rotation there too.
Yeah. I haven't watched his tape yet, but based on last week and what I saw today out on the field, I think there's a lot of meat left on the bone. I think we have a chance to be a dominant front, and I wouldn't necessarily say we've played like that up to this point. So we got to get that figured out, and playing up to our potential is going to be important for us moving forward. I think the rotation with the O-line, I don't know if that necessarily factors into that discussion. Compared to, I think those 7 guys are going to play all year long. Some of the guys that I think we're rotating at other positions, maybe we're going 1-to-1 at certain positions, or 2-to-1 at certain positions where we'd probably be 2-to-1 or 3-to-1. So, as this thing continues to develop and guys either earn more playing time or less playing time, you'll see the gap widen between the starters, reps, and the backups. Thanks, guys.